Hey Bahamas, I just wanted to tell you why I'm marching Friday, Lord willing. I like to be able to tell people when it comes to these kinds of things is why I do the things I do, or believe the things I believe, or participate in the things that I do. Motivation. What is your motives? A lot of people participate in things for their own personal benefit, and so anyway, let me just tell you why I'm marching. A couple of people have brought up on Facebook the fact that the F&M's sins and so forth in the past, and hey, let the chips fall where they may. They got a select committee together now looking at the sale of BTC and so forth, and like this, it's going to be some big disappointment that cause F&Ms to cry. I have voted F&M in the past, every election as a matter of fact, but I'm still not to this day a card carrying. I almost became a card carrying member of the F&M. I campaigned for them back in the day and so forth, but at this particular point, I am not a card-carrying member of any political party or religious organization or anything. I'm just one of those. I march to the beat of my own drum. I don't like people. I'm Hubert Ingram and Branville McCartney. I'm a leader. I don't like people telling me what to do and what I should think and so forth. And I make up my own mind. I'm intelligent. I'm capable of critical thought. And therefore I'm not a good follower. But be that as it may, there comes a time sometimes when and there's nothing wrong with being a follower, by the way, as long as you're following the right leader or the right leadership. But this country is a democracy, supposedly. The United States and the Bahamas are democracies. Now, what that means is we follow the basic tenets of a democratically established society. You're free to come and go as you want, to say what you want and do what you want, as long as it's within the boundaries of the law. But in a true democracy, the people have more to say, and the government needs to fear the people. When the people fear the government, it is not a democracy. Now, having said that, I will say that very often the situation is that the people allow the government to get in a position where they then fear the government. So anybody that is elected to political office and so forth, it is the exceptional one who is not taken with power and overwhelmed with power and self to the extent that they assume certain positions, assume the position of your lord or your king or your emperor or something. Nobody in this country, I'll speak to this country because I don't live in the United States, but nobody in this country elected to high office is your king or your lord or your emperor. You who voted for them, the Bahamian people, whoever's elected to office, the Bahamian people elected them and put them where they are. They did not go there on their own. They did not go to the House of Assembly and assume a certain seat and say, well, this my seat, this what I take. And no. They had to go through a process. And that process involves the people making a decision by way of their ballot. Now, a democracy, you see, freedom, the problem with freedom, so many of us have come to believe and I guess sort of be of the opinion or the belief that freedom is free. It just, it's just free. If you want to be free, you're just free. Well, that's not the case. Freedom was hard fought for in this country. You know, some of your fathers, because some of you are old enough, and many of you, your grandfathers and grandmothers, you know, they really endured some hardships in this country, you know. And they stood their ground, and finally, by the grace of God, because whether you believe, you know, the country is better off since the PLP took office or not, the fact of the matter is you can only keep people down for so long. And they want to be free. That is the human, I've said so before, the human desire is to be free. So inevitably, history dictated that that's what happened. And finally, our fathers and grandfathers and mothers got that freedom. But anyway, I'm straying again. Freedom is not free. You got to work for it. And once you get it, once you attain that position in your life or in you know, in your country or whatever the case may be, it must be maintained. It must be if you have a car, to keep your car running, you got to maintain it. And a democracy must be maintained. And one of the ways it is maintained is the people have to pay attention to what's going on. And you have to hold your representatives. They are not your kings or lords to hold power and fear over you. You have to hold them accountable. Now, why is it that I'm going to march now and I didn't march before? Well, good question, and I'm glad you asked. This march should have taken place 10 to 15 years ago, in my opinion. But, you know, in true Bahamian fashion, we're a little slow getting there, but we finally get there. We take too much for granted in the Bahamas. We are truly a free people. Much more so than our American brothers and sisters, if you, you know, anyway, I don't want to go into that, but, you know, for those of you who know the deal, we're freer than American people are in their own country. We're freer in our country than they are in their country. But we must pay attention. We need to hold our elected officials, elected representatives accountable, hold their feet to the fire. You can't just vote for people and put them in and say, well, do what you could do, and you know, I trust you all to do the best you could do. That might work in the very rare case, but not in you know, the average case nowadays. But anyway, the reason I'm marching is that had a march been organized before, I would have been involved in it. Let me just put it that way. But it's finally been organized now, and this is the reason I'm participating in it. At no point in our history before, as a country, has I'm going to say corruption. I believe all of them's corrupt. FNM, PLP, and whoever. Politics is just that kind of game. But at no time before in our history has the corruption seemingly been so rampant. The arrogance of this government just really gets my goat. And the lack of communication and the desire to maintain such secrecy about things. What is that all about? Let me tell you something. As people, as a citizen of this country, you pay your taxes and you contribute to the, you know, NIB and this, that, and the other, and you are a Bahamian. You have a right to know what is going on in your country with your money. With it, a government only operates off of the money collected from the people through taxes and other means. Governments, generally speaking, in democratic societies, do not do anything to generate money. You know, we, the people, fund the government, who in turn takes our money, and we hope that we could trust them to manage that money and do the right thing with that money. And just like when you invest in something, you want to have a return on your money, and you want things to get, you know, things will get better for you because you'll make more money off of your money that you invested, and your life will get better. That's the same thing with the government. We're investing our money, we have to, because with taxes and whatnot, but it's basically the same thing. We invest our money in them, and hopefully in the long run, things get better in this country for the most people. Not just for a few select, but for the most people. I don't think that's happening. And that's why I'm marching. I want to know, we know basically how much has been raised from VAT, but we have no idea where it has gone to. You know, what has been done with that money. What is going on with the Chinese? What do they really want? And I'm sorry, people say, well, it's racist. I really don't care what you think. I am a Bahamian. I want to know just what in the hell is going on in my country. I don't care if they're Chinese. I don't care if they're blonde hair, blue-eyed, or black as tar. If you invest in all kind of money in my country and seem like you're going to own everything in my country with the blessing of my government, I want to know what's going on. I have a right to know. And the government has a responsibility to inform us. But unfortunately, they have not been informing us, so now we're going to take to the street. You know, it's sad that it has come to this, but this is democracy in action. This is responsible stewardship of that which is yours. God has blessed the Bahamian people with this little country, you know, rich with certain resources and so forth. That is ours by birthright. The government, no politician, anybody can take that from you unless you let them. And we've been letting them do whatever they want to do for too long now. Not only PLP, the FNM as well. We don't hold them accountable enough. And we must. We cannot depend on them to police themselves. It's not going to work. And if you don't get involved, and if you're not concerned enough to get involved and do something about it, then, you know, take what you get. Take blue, sucker. You know. But the problem is that a few people can make it so miserable for the masses of people, the majority. So that's why I'm marching. I'm marching because I want to know what's going on. I want to know that my money is being managed properly. I want to know that there's some future for me. I don't have any children, but you know, there's a lot of young people coming back from college and whatnot who don't want to come back home, and I can't blame them. But there needs to be some future. This little country we could have been so much further ahead in our development, our economic development with investment in different areas and so forth, and could have been so much further ahead had politicians of the past had the vision and compassion and passion for that development, and had the people stayed on their ass to make sure it happened. Well, we did not, so now we have sowed the wind and we are reaping the whirlwind. So we got to step up. We got to get control of this whirlwind now, before it gets any worse. Because the longer you stand by and you allow things to go along as usual, the worse it's going to get, the more powerful your government is going to get, and the day will come then you will not be allowed to stand up and speak speak your mind and offer your opinion. You know, that day could very well come. So, wake up, Bahamas. I'm glad to see that this is finally taking place. Y'all need to wake up. You need to get, I can't stress this enough. And, you know, the Prime Minister even is stressing it. I think maybe his motives might be different from mine, but get out and get registered. You know, I hate defeatist people. I hate people who say, well, it's not going to, you know, we've been voting, but you got to keep at it. So if you know, you get sick or something and the doctor says, you know, you got to do what you can do. You can, I'm tired of it and give up and die. Well, some people do, because I can understand that. You know, your quality of life, you know, gets to that point where you say, finally, I've had enough, and you give up. I can understand that. But we have to keep at it. We have to keep our representatives accountable and afraid of us. Because believe me, the day is coming where you will be very afraid of them. Okay? So, you know, let's do this thing. Do it right. Do it peacefully. And see if we can get some results. Put our government in check. Put them on notice. Not only them, but the next crew coming in, whoever you are, put them on notice. We ain't just because we, you know, might kick the PLP out this next go around and put somebody else in. You can't just put them in and just say, well, you know, we changed the government, okay, everything's straight. No. If we change the government next time around, which I hope to God we do, and we need to stay vigilant. It is the responsibility of the people in a democracy to make things run right. Okay? Remember that. It is your responsibility as a citizen in a democratic country to make sure things stay right in your country. Because the day is coming and will come when you will not have that right to stand up and say a thing. You'll be thrown into prison. You'll be beaten. You'll be persecuted, prosecuted. The day's coming. Anyway, I'm glad, we're getting this thing together. And by the grace of God, I'll be there. And I hope to see all of y'all there.